Welcome to Mastering the Art of Real Estate. I'm your host, Debbi DiMaggio. We are here today with this Gayle Zientek. She's coming to us from Michigan. Welcome, Gayle.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it on this Friday afternoon. We are going to introduce Gayle. Gayle is married to Steve 47 years. She has 3 adult married kids and 12 grandchildren. Wow, I'm so envious. Ages 22 to 7. She joined SendOutCards in 2007, and within 3 years, their real estate business went from 35% to 100% referral business, sending cards and gifts. That is really impressive. She made the decision to join as a consultant and over 19 years has built a large organization with monthly residual income. She retired from real estate in 2022, SendOutCards rebranded as Promptings in 2023, and created the gratitude movement. Every day is a day to work on personal development, send out kindness and appreciation. When you send out what you send out in life comes back. I 100%, 110% believe that. That is my motto. What people ask, why do you do what you do? You don't get paid for it. I said, it doesn't matter. What I do it because it makes me feel good and things just come back in weird ways. So I love that. And we just met over the phone probably a couple months ago, but we had such a great conversation. I immediately invited you to be on the show because you have such a great attitude and we share very similar things. So welcome and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for
So
having me. And I'm excited to share some insight, maybe that realtors might be able to use to grow their gratitude and their businesses.
absolutely. So you were referred to me by George, and I met George through another business BNI. One of my BNI colleagues introduced from California introduced me to George. I just love connecting the dots around the world. It's so fun. And George, who is watching right now, he's in Australia, and he introduced me to you because you're a realtor. So that's why I thought it would be so great to hear. So why don't you first tell us? I want to go back to how you got into real estate and into SendOutCards, but first tell us what SendOutCards is.
Well, SendOutCards it was a platform that I found years ago, actually a BNI. I went to a visitor's day and a week
Okay.
later I got a card in the mail, and after 19, it's not been 19 years and I still have the card to this day. And because it was a tangible thing, it was a tangible connection from someone that I met very briefly but made an impression on me. And so when I opened the card and saw my business card on the front and said, nothing beats a great referral, I'm like, 3 years into real estate, yeah, referrals are important, but I wasn't getting very many at the time. And so I was just really intrigued by the power of what this card represented to me as a recipient, and I wanted to know more. So I got in touch with the person who sent it to me, and sent a card to my husband, and the rest is proverbial history. So,
Wow, it's incredible. So um, I tried it out, the send out cards, and I am such a control freak. So I don't just send out. So this platform that you can write cards very easily, they make it so easy. And what's so great about it is you put all your contacts in there and you send out a card. And then if you forgot if you sent it, you can go there and see that you actually sent the card, which is really helpful. And if a card comes back, you know you have the wrong address, you can find it. So it helps keep you up to date with your friends and clients. So you can either send out just the templates they give you, the cards, just really easily, which would be great if I wasn't such a control freak. But what I love about it, it reminds me of just when I was growing up, I collaged a lot and I love putting photos together, and I like to really personalize a card. So I've been having so much fun personalizing the cards and putting whether it was, for Christmas, put my family. And then if I have a photo of them and me, like I'm going to be sending out some cards to some real estate agents that I met at our conference in Scottsdale. And I have photos of us together. And so I will add those photos to it. So it'll be very personal. So you will want to keep it. And what I love most, and George took a photo of his when I sent a card to him, he took a photo of it and, and showed me that he got it. And I just love that. It's the card that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So tell me okay, so you started in real estate. So tell me about how you got into real estate and then how you got into the cards. And when you got into real estate, was it out of college or was it something, were you in another career? I always like to hear how people got into their business.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for asking. I was a teenage mom, so I got married to my husband when I was a senior in high school and had 3 children within 3 years. And I was a stay-at-home mom doing childcare in our home for 25 years. And so once I would always say, well, once the kids go to school, I'll find something. Well, once, it was always pushed out. So after 25 years and the birth of our first grandchild, I said, you know what? I think I want to do something else. And so my husband encouraged me. He says, why don't you go into real estate? So while I did that, I started a cleaning business. Well, it didn't take me very long to realize that cleaning houses was took a whole lot of effort, and my body felt it. And so I needed something in that transition period from when I took my test. And I always say in 72 hours, I became a realtor because I took a 40-hour class, studied all weekend. And on Monday, I took the state test and I passed. And it's like, wow, I'm a realtor. What does that mean? I don't even know anything. And so it's really easy to get your real estate license, but then what you put into it, there's a reason why so many quit in their first year. And many quit within the first 3 years of getting their license. Well, my first 3 years, because I didn't go to college, I made a commitment that my first 3 years in real estate, I'm going to learn as much as I can. So I got my GRI, I got my ABR, I got my CRS, and I then in 3 years studied for my broker license and passed that test. So I became a
Wow.
broker within those first 3 years. And I learned the value and the business behind real estate, taking all the educational classes. And so I feel like I really got my college education in those first 3 years, investing in learning for myself. And then it was 3 years into the business. My husband was working nights, and he wanted to make a change. So I said, look, I was being very successful in real estate back in the early 2000s. And so he joined me in the real estate in 2006. I became a realtor in 2003. And from that point on, we just built a business together. And I think it was probably nine years into our business that we opened up our own brokerage. And so we had our own brokerage for 6 years and really enjoyed the freedoms that came with being able to create and build a real estate business. But back 3 years in, I mentioned that we had become successful, but I had like a stack of files on my desk because I wanted to be able to connect with people. I just didn't know how. And I remember asking, the seasoned agents, like, how do you stay in touch with people? How do you stay top of mind? How do you keep control of your database? And, top producer, Agent 2000, there was a lot of recommendations, and I had top producer for a few years, but it was way too complex and I didn't use it. And we all know that, great ideas come, but implementation is what makes the difference. And so when I got this card in the mail, I looked at this, it had that contact manager. And so honestly, for the next 18 years, we had nothing except for the contact manager that SendOutCard offered, and have over 7,000 contacts in there. I've sent over 30,000 cards over
Wow.
time. And, it was by being able to stay in touch with people throughout the year we had a couple client events. So we'd invite people using the SendOutCard system. And then we'd follow up using the SendOutCard system because there was pictures. that we could
Right.
implement on those. And then so it would kept people intrigued. It kept them engaged with us. You know, when we'd see things on social media, I'd take a picture, send a card, celebrate life, different life events, and it really was the key for us to build that referral business over a dozen years in real estate.
That's incredible. So in the I'm just kind of getting used to it, but I noticed there's features. I'm trying to categorize my people because I really love to, other clients as well as colleagues, so you can work referrals throughout the world. Now, there's a place for birthday and anniversary. If is it automatic that it would let you know that it, how do you keep track of that, or how do you like know that it's someone's birthday? Do you have to just go in and know, or is there an automatic feature?
There are notifications that you can turn on, and you
Okay.
can get notified of birthdays. You can also go into your search, the browser, and search by birthday. Like, let's say it's April, you can go April 1st to April 30th and then click search
Okay.
birthday, and it'll pop everybody's birthday in April for you, so you can, you know. And then the campaign feature, being able to create a card that goes out to people um, throughout the year, is with a touch of a button. And if you want to personalize it, you can go in and you can add a picture from their Facebook to make it personal for them. This is an example of a card that I got from a friend. She's actually a realtor out in California, Betty. And so my husband and I had a motorhome. And so I got about 3 of these happy camper cards this year for my birthday. But she personalized it with
Oh,
pictures on the inside. And so, you know, and on the back, there's Betty just has a little picture. And I always have her contact information. It's right here in the return
right.
address so that I can see it. But I'm not going to throw this birthday card away because it's
No.
special. I've got pictures, and I might even cut this up later down the road if I'm making a
Right.
collage or, you know, vision board or whatever. But the fact that um, we have the ability to do that is really special. Anniversaries, I'd always put the anniversary of the home closing.
Okay.
Anniversary, I don't. My mom taught me. My mom was like, Gail, a wedding anniversary is between a husband and a wife, and so I grew up thinking that and believing that, and so I. A lot of people like to celebrate wedding anniversaries, and I got seriously, I got a lot of cards celebrating our anniversary this year, but the home anniversary, so the closing date. And that way it gives, I just helped a realtor go in and they're setting up campaigns out 11 years for 11-year anniversaries. And you have the ability to do that in the system. You could, I suggested they do a 1 to 5 year campaign. And with the click of a button, I can send a happy anniversary from now to 5 years in the future that just stay in my account. And then each year they'll go out at the scheduled time. So there's the ability to do that, which is really,
Wow.
I think, a value to realtors who are busy. They want to stay in touch, and you always can go in. There's unexpected things that happen. So maybe there's a death of a spouse, or maybe there's a divorce that happens, and you've got the cards sitting in there. You can always go in and cancel those cards before they go out into the future as well. So it's a good keeping hands on, but it's also hands off because you've created one thing that's going out into the future.
Right. I love it. I'm gonna have to do a little tutorial with you guys so I can auto these do these campaigns and set them up, because that would take a lot. So a lot off my plate. So when you're setting up, when you started entering your people, how did you, did you have a strategy to get in like the birthdays and the anniversaries, and or did you just kind of sit down and just started like going through the MLS and trying to figure out when I closed on that?
Well, I had those stack of files. So I had like
Okay.
75 closed files, and I hired Juliana. Juliana came into the office, and I paid her $10 an hour back in the day. And she just she'd go through the files, find the closing date, put that in my
Okay.
system. And so then they were, once they're there, they're there. You know,
Right.
family members. I used to have one of those Longenberger baskets with all the addresses in there. My husband's one
Right.
of 10 kids. I'm one of 6
Wow.
kids. And so there's tons of aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody. So I'd sit down and I'd, maybe 10, 15 people a day. I just put them in there. Now, I say that, but there's so much technology advancement today, and most people, most agents have their contacts in some type of a database where they can export them, and
Oh,
you can actually export and import right into the SendOutCards system very, very quickly and easily. So as far and when you add a new person, make sure you just add them in, put that anniversary date in there, the closing of the home, and then they're
it's
there.
done. Yep, set it and leave it, I guess. That's great. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we will be right back with Gayle, who is with us from Send Out Cards. Thank you. Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Real Estate. I'm your host, Debbi DiMaggio. We are here with Gayle, who's coming to us from Michigan. So, what would be? Do you have any memorable stories that came with the cards that you sent over the years? Because you did say you've sent over 30,000 cards. That is huge.
Yes. And so back in 2011, I sent a card. My husband and I went to an event. It was the Taste of the Chamber, and it was 20 different chefs that were presenting their beautiful, bountiful feasts of food. And all of us it was a realtor event. And it was just a multi-business event. And so we were going around tasting the foods. And at the end of the day, you cast your vote, and the Park Street Market won. And I'm like, it was just my habit. So this was 2011. I am 4 years into utilizing this service. So I automatically know I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to send a card. And back then I had my Sure Shot Canon,
I remember that.
little digital camera that fit in my purse. And I sent the card. I think I might, I don't know where it is right off the hand, but I sent a card to the Park Street Market. I didn't know anybody, but I took their picture. I just said, "Congratulations, your food rocked the house of the Taste of the Chamber. No
Oh,
better ribs, greens, and peach cobbler. A win well earned." Steve and Gayle Zientek, even the network team at Even Walton Realtors, and our phone number. That was all it was on the card. And their pictures. And I got a call a week later, and it was Kiar, and he says, "I just want to thank you for the card that you sent. That was really nice. I see that you're a realtor, and my family and I are moving here from the east side of the state, and we thought, maybe we could sit down and see if we'd be a fit to work together." And so we met with Kiar downtown Kalamazoo, had a couple beers, and just got to know one another. And this was back when the foreclosure market was happening. So on 12, and so we nurtured this relationship for over a year, because it was on 12/12/12
oh my
that he
God.
closed on his first home.
Oh,
And it was a foreclosure home. It was in 2013 that he got married to Eva. They had a couple kids, and then, but he said he had a family. So, like, we helped a brother get into a house. We helped his sister get into a house. We helped his other younger sister. Mom and dad bought a house. He referred us to a friend who moved from the east side of the state to Kalamazoo. They bought a house. Then we sold that house. And so I think there was over 12 transactions just out of that one card
wow.
that I sent to somebody I didn't even know. And that has made such a huge impact, because not only did they become clients, but they became friends. And, we were involved in the birth of their babies. Steve and I were just
Wow.
recently out in Baltimore, Maryland for an event. And one of the sisters that we helped purchase a home and then sold their home moved out there, and we stopped by unexpected one night, and they welcomed us in with open
Oh,
arms. They were so happy to see us. And that's just the relationships we've built with the mom, even the brothers and sisters over on the east side of the state that only lived over there, but we've seen them at family events, and they embrace us with open arms. So it's just that's my one great story
that's a
of
great story.
And I have one more I'll share because this is
Yes.
the power of one. And
Okay.
you mentioned BNI. We met Brooks is our financial advisor from BNI,
Okay.
and so Brooks referred us to herself. We helped her and her husband sell their home and buy another one. But over the course of the last 14 years, Brooks has referred us enough business that she's been worth about $5,555 a year to us for the last
Wow.
14 years. I always say, what if you had 20 or 30 people that were worth $5,000 a year to you? All you had to do was keep in touch with them, and they remembered you, and they know what you do, and they like you, so they refer business to you. And so that's the power of one, of just keeping in touch and building those relationships.
Right. Building relationships is so important, and it's fun too. It's not that's what I'm finding. I started my career just with kids and husband and just, not really, I never had a CRM. It was just kind of referrals and just doing what you do. And then it kind of just happens and open houses. But I love, in the last year and a half, I joined BNI talking about the power of one and it's so purposeful, and every week you are with the same group, and you learn how you can help them. I'm always at the top referring. I'm always the top referral person because my mind just thinks that way. But it's just so fun and it's so effortless. And with building relationships is so fun, right? It's not like work. It's you're building a relationship. We're having a conversation right now. How hard is that? And then if something
Yeah,
comes, great. It's so important, and it just makes it so fun. It's not like I was telling my son. I mean, you can do anything, but real estate is. It's just. I feel like it's an elevated experience to selling, let's say, solar or something that's not as fun and not as meaningful, I would say. And so, anyway, I just love that. And tell us, how long were you in BNI, and when did you start with BNI in your career?
well, started with BNI in let's see, the fall of 2006, because it was in 2007 at Visitors Day when I received the card in the
Okay.
mail after the Visitors Day.
Okay.
So my husband and I were in this chapter for 16 years. And
Wow.
44% of our annual income came out of the referrals from our BNI partners.
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, it is. It's so impressive. I'm having my power partners. I'm just getting used to all the verbiage, but I'm having my power partner group to my house on Tuesday to further those relationships. And it's just such a nice way of getting to know people and helping others. So tell us 3 to 5. So helping our agents, helping anyone who's building a product service or who has a product service or brand, if you send out cards, 3 to 5 ways someone could build their business.
Well, the first way is, Cody built this, and the reason why he rebranded it to Promptings is because Promptings is a very prominent word that I've learned from him since day one of getting involved with SendOutCards. And it's like that prompting is that intuitive thought when you think about something. It's like and in the reference to being at the taste of the chamber, it was automatic for me. I was a level 4 habit of I didn't think, I just did something. And so you just get in tune with acting on your promptings. So as you're scrolling, we all scroll through social media every day. And Easter was just past. I can't tell you how many people that I paused, saved their pictures, and quickly sent them a card.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. That's a good one. I
just
didn't think about that.
celebrating because they're all dressed up and they're all, happy, smiles on their faces. Prom, my grandson just went to prom this last week, and I was so excited when my daughter shared the pictures, and I created a fun card, and I was able to send him a memory of his prom night with his friend Ava that they went to. So it's those kind, Cody teaches about 80% relationship, 20% marketing. So here's the key. And I would always say I'm 95/5 because very little did I market with SendOutCards. There is a purpose and a place for that with using SendOutCards, but you get the most bang for your buck and you get the most return on emotional investment when you take a moment to send a personal card So I would say send 3 to 5 cards every single day. Cody just came out with Axe. Axe is a digital card. It's to help us like immediately act on those promptings. So I can take a picture. um, my friend, he just announced that he changed brokerages. He lives in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And so I took the picture that he made the announcement and I just sent him a digital card. I made a card and said, "Hey, Andy, congratulations on your move. Loving you, love seeing you still rock real estate. Gayle." And I sent it, I texted it to him. um, I've had friends who posted about a dear friend who passed away, and she was emotional in the moment. I was able to take that image and her feelings that she posted, and I send her that card. And Jackie's received cards from me. She was in my BNI, so she's received cards for me for the last 18 years. And her response back from even a digital card was, "Oh my gosh, can I please have that in print? I will frame that and put it in my house." It meant that much to her. And so
Wow.
I think if we get in touch with our senses of our emotional senses towards people and what they're going through, what emotions they're experiencing, and we give that back to them, it means the most for them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. And what I just learned too, which I didn't think of because I'm so obsessive about getting the high resolution photo, you literally just download it from the internet or take a screenshot and then upload it.
Hmm.
I love that. That's great. That's a whole other thing to do. Okay. So we're going to say 3 to 5. So give us some more great tips.
Okay, and then for those of you who are working with buyers and sellers, the ability once you get to the closing table, and not forgetting them afterwards. So I created a four card campaign that goes out. One goes immediately with a 4 pack of brownies, just congratulating them, picture of their house on the front, and letting them know how much we appreciated working with them. Card 2 goes out 3 months later, and it's got a $50 gift card or American Express gift card. And we say, it's just been a few months. If you have any lingering questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Maybe you can find something for your home with this gift card. The third one goes out at Thanksgiving. It's scheduled to go out on 11/11. And so it gets there just before Thanksgiving. And it thanks them for allowing us to be a part of their life, and thank them that we're thankful for them being a part of our lives in this year. And then the fourth card goes out on the anniversary, their 1 year anniversary, with a 2 pack of brownies or some chocolate chip cookies. And it just says, "Wow, I can't believe it's been a year already." And just wanted to say, thanks again, and hope you've been creating some amazing memories in your home. So being able to set that campaign in progress the day of closing, and then
Wow.
knowing that over the course of the next year it's going to get to them, and it's costing like less than $100 to touch them 4 times, and it's got 3 gifts that go along with it. So
That's incredible. So you set it and you forget it. It's just once you set it up. So I know this, but I don't think everyone does. So the gifts, are those in the send out card, come through send out
yes.
cards?
Yes, they have a whole bunch of, savory gifts, they have bakery gifts, they have home gifts. Um, I send them all the time. Wind chimes. When someone passes away, that's
Oh,
special to
that's
me. And there's these little wind chimes that cost me less than $22 to send them. And I just always say, I make it a very personal card. And when I say, when you hear these, just know that your loved one is, um, on your mind. And then for babies, people have babies. There's the pink giraffe and the blue giraffe. And I take a picture that they post on social media, and I put it on the front of the card in one of the templates. And I just congratulate them and let them know that I see
that's,
them. So,
yeah, that's
so the,
incredible. I love it.
sending the gifts I send probably 3 to 5 gifts every week. And it just makes a difference. I just got some brownies for our anniversary from a realtor friend out in Massachusetts. Scott and Mia always seem to acknowledge, people in their life, and So my husband and I said, I get to share these with you because it's for both of us.
Well, so are you, so obviously you can't know that all these things are happening because there are so many things happening and that you're so aware of. So is it from Instagram and Facebook that you're finding like who to send, be prompted to send a gift or
Yeah. Yep.
a card to? Okay. That's wonderful. I do. So I know you do events. So can you walk us through one of your events from what you send, how you send is in the form of a card or, how does it
Yeah.
get to them? And if you show us what that looks like, because I know you're so organized.
Organized. Yes, we had, well, when we were active, so it was 2 events a year. We would have a pumpkin fest. So
Oh,
every
cute.
year we have
Okay.
pumpkin fest, and we teamed up with my daughter's daycare centers, and so we create a card, and it would just say, we're excited to see you, the place we're going, pumpkin patch, face painting, bounce house costumes. You're invited to the 8th annual. This was back in 2019, the time. And then, you always have your branding on the back, who you are and how people can get a hold of you. But the cool thing about this was, we'd send out the invitation to probably 150 people. Maybe 60 to 75 would attend, but all 150 people received the card, so they understood that we were having this. And then afterwards, we'd take pictures at the event, and it was usually kind of a threefold card, and just all the fun that we had with the kids and the face painting, and they'd pick a free pumpkin and take it home, and we'd say, once you carve this, send us a picture and let us know. And if they did, then there's another card that can go out with a picture of their carved pumpkin. So we did that. And we did a flower fest in May, and we purchase hanging baskets at a discount, and we'd invite our clients to come and pick out a hanging basket. And so this was always right around Mother's Day, so they could come on the
Nice.
Saturday before Mother's Day, pick a hanging basket, and then they're thinking about us all year. And we always make sure we take a picture of them with their hanging basket, and so then we'd send the card to them thanking them for coming. And so those are kind of some of the ways that we would use that to follow up afterwards.
Right. Those are really great. I know because nowadays I have a hard time with like, there's so many different people celebrate so many different holidays. It's hard to say if you say happy Passover or happy Easter or happy gosh only knows there's thousands of
Mm-hmm.
them. So I just like to point out, for May is a good time, Mother's Day, or instead of Easter or Passover or whatever the holiday could be springtime. But I like the idea of the Halloween because that's so fun and that's so neutral for everyone. But those are great ideas. So you send the card, you invite them, they come, you send them another card. Is
Mm-hmm.
there, you have so many ideas. Are there other promptings that you have?
Uh, you know, at the first of the year, cards that, if you have pictures of the homes that you've closed throughout the year, and you just create a card, and at the first of the year you can send that out and say, we just want to let you know that we had a really great year. Thank you for all the referrals that you've provided for us. Here's some of the awesome properties we were able to market and sell or help buyers purchase. And so it's a visual,
Right.
in BNI, you learn Coven, or Dr. Ivan Meisner would talk about VCP, visibility, credibility, and profitability. And I think that can be utilized in all aspects of business and life, because your visibility creates your credibility. So how
Right.
you show up on social media, how you show up um, just out and around town, the energy that you provide, your visibility, it creates a credibility. So people want to know that you're credible. So if you send a card with, the pictures of the homes that you were able to sell in the previous year, that's credibility and profitability. I always say cards lead to conversation. So when you
Mm-hmm.
send a card, it leads to a conversation. Not all. And
Yeah.
here's where I'll interject this. Just because you send a card, don't expect an answer.
Right.
If
Oh,
you're sending
absolutely.
out to give instead of sending, or you're sending out to get. And
Yeah. Right.
so a lot of people will say, well, I've sent, 20 cards and nobody's, said anything. Well, why are you sending the cards? If you're just sending to celebrate people, then just celebrate people. Because I have gone into homes over the years. We were called to a listing appointment, a couple that we helped purchase the home, and we hadn't really had any contact much over the time. She was in our BNI group and then she wasn't. So then we didn't really have much contact, but when we went to the home for the listing appointment, up on the refrigerator was a card. And I'm like, that looks like a card. And so when I went home, here's what I love, the history, the card history. So I was able to look up Paula in my card history, and guess what? There's that card I'd sent like 3 years previous from their vacation. They were out on a beach, the family, and that card was still on the refrigerator. So was that a coincidence that they called us to come in, even though we hadn't really stayed deeply in touch with them? I
Right.
think it was just it's that subliminal message. So don't ever think that the cards you send aren't doing what you intended it to reach out and to connect and celebrate another person, because you might not know ever, but you might know months down the road, or you might know years down the road.
Absolutely. I love it. Just another touch point, but yes, don't try to think that it's one for one. It's you have to do, I think leading with the heart is so important. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we will be right back with Gayle. Welcome back to Mastering the Art of Real Estate. I'm your host, Debbi DiMaggio. We are here with Gayle. She is coming to us from Michigan. She is a real estate agent, well, retired real estate agent, but she is for the last, has it been 22 years you've been doing send out cards?
Last 19 years.
19 years you've been doing send out cards. Wow. When did they start? When did you say they started this company?
I believe they started in 2003, so about
Wow.
22 years ago.
That's amazing. So you've done a lot. Just you are amazing. You are a marketing genius. But did you have any mentors as you were in real estate or in send out cards?
Oh, I've had mentors my whole life. I've had a lot of mentors in real estate. I remember John was assigned to me as my mentor in real estate, and he actually helped me close the house of my very first purchase or sale was my son's purchase of a home, and I had my
Mm.
license hadn't even come in yet. So he helped. He kind of ran the transaction, and then my commission was put in escrow until my license finally came in March of '04. Um, but but John, just John was always there, and he was always kind. He was always caring. I've had other coaches throughout my career. Cody Bateman, the founder of SendOutCards, he's been a tremendous mentor. Jordan Adler, who is the number one money earner in our business in SendOutCards and Promptings, he's been a mentor of mine and has become a close friend over the past 12 to 15 years. So, just I think staying plugged in, find an energy that resonates with who you are, and as you learn from them, you will learn and grow in the same ways that they um, resonate and put their energy out there. So I'm just grateful for that. I keep thinking, like, are there women mentors? Like, I name these men, but I have my friend that I'm going to stay with, Sheila. We've been friends for over 35 years, and we're just sisters in Christ, and we love to spend time together. So um, and my husband's been a mentor of mine. We've been married 47 years. We grew up together, and
Wow, you
we live
sure
in
sure did.
yeah. So
Yeah,
It's
mentors are so important. We have a new team member who just joined DiMaggio Beta Group, our real estate group, and when we were talking, I said you can either go at it on your own. It's completely fine, or if you'd like to join us, happy to. And I was as I was coaching with her, we coach every week, and then obviously when you start real estate, all of a sudden there's urgent needs. How do you do a buyer broker agreement? I now have that. I'm trying to get her to send out her announcement cards and do it in order. But of course, real estate, everything's all over the place. You never know what's going to happen. But I said, think of working on a team as it's really you're getting your MBA in real estate. You are working not only with myself of 35 years in real estate, my husband Adam, who's my partner, 35 years, and he's a broker and he oversees 85 agents, and I'm the marketing director. And we've been selling and doing this, and even though it's been 35 years, I'm always learning. Like today, sitting here with you, I'm always learning new ways to do things. And over the last year and a half, interviewing with agents. And so I take that information and share it. It's amazing how it's not all the same, and there's so much new information. And so I said, back to getting mentors. Have a mentor and think of it as your MBA in real estate or whatever the career is you're in. It's invaluable to learn and to speed up the learning process, and not to be sitting around like you said. As soon as you got your license, you're like, oh, now I'm a realtor. What do I do? It's like going to college. You go to college and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I can do whatever I want. I can go to school. I don't have to go to class. I could, it's like you have to get structured, right, about your business. So I think mentors are super important. I had a couple mentors in real estate. As you know, it gets really tough. And sometimes you're like, oh, I want to quit. I can't believe that just happened. And, I had a broker who took me across the street and put me in a swing and I was crying. I was so upset. I'm like, and the age, and I had won a deal for a client, and it was in multiple offers. And then the client decided after all that, after we got it, she didn't want it. And I just felt horrible for the agent on the other side. And he was at a different company and he brought me flowers and he said, please don't quit. You're going to be really great at this. And I was like, I feel so bad. I let you down. And he was consoling me. But it's so incredible. So tell me, do you, well, you know what, let's talk about, since you were mentioning, so Cody, it sounds like, is the founder of SendOutCards.
Mhm.
You were telling me that, so this is a business for you. So tell us the business side of SendOutCards.
Well, it's I always I remember when I first got this card and I sent a card, and now I'm researching, how can I join? And there was a opportunity to join as an affiliate back then, as a distributor, and I'm like, why not? You know, I think this is a great idea. I had an emotional experience receiving a card, and I had an emotional experience sending cards and then getting the responses from people. So it's like, this is a no-brainer,
Right.
and back then it was probably $500 to join as an affiliate, as a new distributor. And today you can join for $99 a year, and you're just sharing. It's be, share, and show. It's you're being in gratitude. Like, I'm being in gratitude. So there, what am I going to do? I'm going to share my gratitude, which is me taking a picture and putting it on the front of a card and saying some kind words and sending it off. I'm sharing my gratitude with others, and then showing others how to be in and share gratitude. So, you know, Cody rebranded to Promptings, and now we're the Gratitude Movement. And I'm a gratitude consultant. I love being a consultant.
I
I'm
know, I
retired.
love
I'm
it.
a consultant now. And, I'm just consulting with people on how to be in and share gratitude with others. And Cody's got a pay scale. Someone signs up for a program, a monthly subscription of either, you can, for as little as $10 a month, as up to $117 a month for an ongoing subscription, to be able to connect and send cards and create a great business. And I share that with a few people who share it with a few people who share it with a few people. And, 19 years later, I have like 2,300 people in my organization
Wow. That's
that are
incredible.
being in and sharing gratitude. Now, not all of them are active, but
Right.
it's been, and it was during COVID when everything kind of shut down in 2020. I'm like, we all just stayed home. What are we going to do? And that was when I was first transitioning out of real estate. When I made the decision that I'm going to let my husband work with all the buyers and I'm going to let him work with all the sellers. And I just don't want to do it anymore, babe. I'll be your assistant. And I wasn't a very good one of those. But, just that residual income that was coming in at the time, it paid our mortgage, it paid our car payment, it paid the taxes, it paid for food and gas, and it sustained us. And I'm like, this is what I saw 19 years ago. I said, I could build a residual income because there's so many people out there right now, Debbie, that are living in fear, and they're living in lack because I worked 25 years as a stay-at-home mom providing care for children. I didn't get a retirement from that. I just retired as a real estate agent. You don't retire with benefits as a real estate agent. So
Absolutely.
it's up to us to, think about those things into the future. And so I'm really just glad I made the decision, 19 years ago to add that affiliate option to it, to become a consultant that I am today. And when you are a product of the product and you use the product and you share the product with others, that's when you're going to have success. So, and that's what I do. I like what I shared at the beginning of this program is all the ways I've used the cards over the years and what it's meant to us in business. And so now I consult other people how to do that. And of course they want to join, and they want to learn to be in gratitude more often, and they want to learn how to share their gratitude effectively with others. So I just have the opportunity now to do it at a higher level.
I love it. That's amazing. And you're saying you could be an affiliate for $95 and then you can build it as quickly or as slowly as you want. And I think
That's
one thing you told me, which is so smart. I mean, I love it. I'm sold. I think it's the coolest thing. It's so creative, but, and it makes it so easy and it's so fun. It feels so great when you get a photo back. Like I just got one today, a snapshot and a text message. And it was like, I go, oh, I love that. So, do you do trainings for your team members, or do they just call you when they need you, or how do you? Is there a format that you follow, or give us how you built
well,
your business?
the the corporation of Promptings does a really great job of delivering the information. So Monday night we have calls with Cody, Callie, and Dave Smith, and they're teaching the consultants how to best do their business. We have tools that are incredible. If we would have had these tools back 19 years ago, but now I can, like, if someone is curious, I can go, oh, hang on just a second. Let me go up here to my little app, and I'm going to send you a video that explains exactly what it is the gratitude movement's about. And if you resonate with that, it'll ask you, to decide if you're a 1 or a 2, which is if you just want to use the product and be in and share gratitude with others, or if you're a 2, if you want to be if you're interested in being a consultant, and if you are, then there's video 3 that's going to go through all of the the layout of how you get paid as a consultant. So everything is on an
Oh wow,
app that I can share now, and that makes it really really easy to do. And I do, like, I'm having lunch with one of my consultants next week. Stacy says, would you meet for lunch with me? But mostly it's people that reach out to me. They know I'm here, they know I'm available, and if they have questions, they're here. Chip Barkle was one of my greatest, my biggest legs, you would say, in this business. He's a realtor in Toronto, and he has a large organization. And I met Chip online, and he saw the value of SendOutCards at the time 9 years ago, and he's built a great attraction to people. And so that's what I do. I feel like I'm attracting people by who I am and how I put myself out there, which is how, I George says, "Oh, I know Gayle, and she was a realtor, and Debbie would like to have conversation with another realtor who's done
right?
things with this, and that's what brought us together. So, um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I love it. And yeah, and since I'm using it already, it would be easy, right? Because I've already subscribed and I'm already in. So now I just need to convert. So I love it. It's so great. So tell us, let's see, because your husband is still in real estate, right? So he's
Yes, yes.
still active. So, and I think your son is that true? Your son is working
Our,
with your
our
husband?
son-in-law, yeah, my
Son-in-law.
daughter's husband is a realtor as well.
So what are a couple things, because we have newer agents, and it's also good for seasoned agents to hear because things change obviously. I mean, when I started there was no internet or social media. So what are 3 to 5 things you would encourage new agents to do or learn to implement in their business?
Well, one is you had mentioned there's a gal that's just starting with you and the sending out the cards, like letting people know, making your list. Just just like you do for every business, you make a list. Who do I know, and who needs to know what I'm doing right now? And so you make your list and you send out that correspondence with them. I mean, I did that 22 years ago when I got my license. I remember I still have that letter in the notebook of what I sent to people. So, you know, letting people know who you are and what you're doing now, and um, finding that mentor. So learning, be a learn it all, and not a know
Yeah,
it all, but a learn it all, because the more you involve yourself into learning about your profession, there's so many different ways to do it now. When I started in real estate, it was you had floor duty, you did
right.
open houses and the follow up, and you answered the phone, and I was really successful as the floor duty girl, and I did a lot of business with people I didn't know. But once you and so now I don't even know what people do nowadays. But the AI's out there, and I mean, I just haven't grasped onto that. So if you get a response from me, it's me, it's my words, it's my thoughts of you
Right.
at the moment. So be real with people, be authentic and real with people,
Mhm.
and then send cards. Make this a part of your activities
Right.
to celebrate people, because people don't know how much you care until what how, people don't know.
Right. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying,
Yes, yes.
until they know.
And
So just being relevant and involved, authentic, and learn and
right.
grow, because people will see through that. I can remember being in a GRI class, because remember, I didn't know anything about selling houses, and I'd go to this class, and then I'd be out on an appointment, and I'd hear myself saying things that I learned in class, and I thought, wow, who's that girl? Like,
I
how did
love that.
so, learn your industry, and find a good mentor, and just keep in
Yes,
touch with people in a positive
absolutely.
way.
Mentor, super important. Keep learning, know your market, know whatever the market is, in real estate, know your inventory, know your colleagues, really get to know they're not competitors, they're colleagues. Get to know the colleagues in your own company and the other company, and be your authentic self 100%. And that's
We had Homes magazines back in the day, and I'd open up the Homes magazines, and here's Jakeway Realtors, and I'd look at the agents, and I would look up the agents, because I was in a company. It was Prudential Preferred Realtors, which is now Berkshire Hathaway, and we had like 5 offices in town, and I would look in the Homes magazine, and I look at pictures of the different agents. I'd go visit the different offices, and I would meet the agents, because
uh,
I was a relational girl, and I wanted to get to know people that I was working with. And I would learn from the people who, have been around a lot longer than I have. And so, yes, getting to know your colleagues is, I think, a really important step in building a successful long-term business.
absolutely. So, Gail, I bet you have a morning routine. Share with us your morning routine.
Well, that's ever changing, because as a like I've been going through this retirement transition for a couple of years now, and it's been kind of tough, because it's like, who am I? I had
Mm,
my identity in real estate for 20 years, and so now, like, oh, gee, what do I do now? I get to wake up and, let's see, I go have a glass of water and then I'll go for a walk, drink some coffee. But I do scroll social media and I do make it an intention to save photos and create and
Love
send
that.
cards to people, letting them know I'm thinking about them. Um, but I could say that you'll go through times in life where your routine will change. My
Right.
routine today is so much different than my routine was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and so just love on yourself and give yourself grace to go through the
Mhm.
changes, because you can feel sometimes a little bit out of sorts, but just know that you do have a purpose and there's people around you that need you. And you know, the profitability that you're looking for in life is going to come with how you treat yourself first and then how you treat others.
That's beautiful. That is so true. It's true. And yes, it's hard when you're transitioning. I was really hit hard by the empty nest. And so I don't think he'll ever retire. So I'll probably never have that retirement thing because I am just an overachiever, but and try to do many things. But the empty nest was like a hard stop. I was just, taken over by that. So I know what you're going through. Obviously, you have it more under control than I did, but it's weird. Your life changed. You're like, when the kids left for college, I'm like, who am I? I don't, my
Mhm.
my friend client asked me, well, what do you want to do? You talk about your kids all the time, and I'm like, I don't know who I am. I have to. So after they left, I had to kind of work on that. It's become fun, and this is one of my things that I started, and I get to meet people around the world. I'll be interviewing someone in Portugal and the Cayman Islands, and I get to see you in Michigan, and hopefully I'll meet George one day in person in Australia. So any last words you want to share, words of wisdom by Gayle Zientek?
Well, I've been staring at this picture on my desk. This is
Oh,
my grandson.
oh,
I sent this card to him on his first birthday,
oh,
and I was going through my card history last summer, and I came across this card, and I'm like, and Cohen was coming up to his 18th birthday. And so I was able to resend this card. And so for his 18th birthday, I resent this card to him. And then, the inside is just a picture of him and his mom, his dad, and his big sister. But this is him now, this
that's
this
awesome.
strapping big boy. And we went to dinner, and so I sent this card to myself, and I was able to give it to Cohen at dinner on his 18th birthday. And just the vision of him opening this card and seeing himself as a baby on there, and then just enjoying this, just the joy on his face and the amazement of it. With any other program, I like I couldn't do that with any other program or a
Right.
card that I go buy at the store. And so my parting words is, pictures are worth 1,000 words. And so if you can find a picture that's meaningful to somebody and you just celebrate them in that moment with that picture, um, the return of the investment of your time, energy, and efforts is not going to be wasted.
Wow, that is beautiful. That is so true. I'm surprised you haven't crashed the system with all the cards you sent. I love it. And that's so incredible. You were able to go back and find that 18 years ago. That's incredible.
Mhm.
And how could our guests get a hold of you? What's the best way?
The best way, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on all the platforms. I've been enjoying TikTok a lot lately, just to kind of share my now journey, of who I am
Yeah.
now, and how to be active and happy and healthy in life and live life to its fullest. But, mostly on Facebook or Instagram, Gayle Zientek. And if you want to send me a message, I'll see your message and I'll respond. And I'd love to connect with you and just be an inspiration to you. I'm pretty open book. You can scroll through my Facebook or my Instagram, and you see what you see is what you get. So
Right. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking your time. Have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
thank you, Debbie. I really appreciate being here today and sharing.
Thank you.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Real Estate with host Debbi DiMaggio. Here Fridays, noon Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network. Tune in to where real estate matters matter.